Okay guys, everything's now printed off. It took a really long time because the pieces are so big. So just so you know, the print times, this upper torso was 42 hours. Printed really clean, very smooth, but got quite a bit of support material to remove off that. The lower torso was 20 hours, no support material, and that's clean, very clean as well. We got the right leg, took 27 hours. Got some support material on that as well. Left leg was 25 hours, and the right arm was 21 hours. You can see the support material on that is going to have to be removed. And the left arm was 25. I had a problem with this one, that it wouldn't lay flat on the print bed, so I had to slice a part of it off just so it would lay flat. So I'm going to have to sand and glue that on, try and get it on perfect. Remove all that support material, and during printing one of the supports actually failed and that finger is broke, so I'm going to have to fix that. I'll just slice it off in mesh mixer and just glue it on. These cubes that attach all the pieces to each other, none of them actually fit into each other, so I'm going to have to sand them quite a bit to actually get them to fit. But I got 80 grit sandpaper and 120, so that should go through that quite nicely. I won't actually be sanding the actual overall model. I'll just prime it and wet sand it because the print is quite smooth as it is. So I'm going to get cracking, connecting all these pieces and removing the support. Okay guys, I've cleaned up all the support material, and all I've got to do now is glue all the parts together. The legs and the arms all had connecting cubes, but I decided to just cut them off with a hacksaw because it was just a pain in the ass trying to get them to fit together. And once I've connected them, I'll have to mix up some body filler and fill in the seam lines. And so I'm going to get cracking with this now. Okay, that's everything glued. All I got to do now is mix up some filler and fill in the seam line on both these arms, and then once I connect them to the rest of the body, and then fill in the seam line on the leg and the lower torso, which I'll probably just do it with my finger. Just put a glove on and just go around there like that with my finger. On this part, I've applied masking tape to either side of the seam line. That way it'll help with cleanup afterwards, because all the excess will just be peeled off with the masking tape. Okay, so I've let the filler dry for about an hour now, and I'm going to sand it with 120 grit and 80 grit. I'll probably start with the 80 grit first and then work my way up to 120, and I'm going to remove the masking tape from around the seam line and get rid of all that excess filler. Okay, I finished sanding the filler, and I've got it as smooth as I can all the way around the body there and on the legs, and I've sanded the filler on the arms. Now all I've got to do is connect the arms to the rest of the body, mix up some more filler and fill in the seam line where the arm connects to the body. Okay, so this filler is now dry. I left it for about an hour. All I've got to do is remove this masking tape and sand it with 80 grit and 120 grit sandpaper. Okay, that's the sanding done. It was quite tricky, especially on this arm. There was a lot of fiddly little spots to get to. Overall, I think it took me about 2 hours to sand that, but I've got it as smooth as I can. And the next stage is I've got to just give it a wash, and then I'll be ready for priming it. Okay guys, the model is now ready for priming. I've washed and degreased it, and I've also masking taped up the shorts because I don't want this part primed at the moment. And I'm going to use this U-Pol High 5 High Build primer. I'll do 3 coats of that and give it 45 minutes between coats. Before I use it, I usually go over it with the heat gun just to warm up the primer. So I'm going to get my respirator on and I'll get cracking. Okay guys, I let the primer dry for 24 hours and now I'm going to wet sand it. So I've got some warm water here with a couple of drops of fairy liquid and 80 grit sandpaper, and I'm going to go all over the model and wet sand it. And then once I've done that, I'm going to dry it, well, wash it and dry it, and then re-prime it and see if I'm happy with the finish. Okay guys, the primer's dry now and I'm ready to airbrush it. I've never airbrushed anything before, so I had to buy myself an airbrusher compressor and a gun and a few different shades of green, which I will post a picture of the different shades that I'm going to be using. I also printed this arm at the wrong size, so I had a little bit of a practice with some of the colours, and that's what I'm going to hopefully try and do. So I'm going to mix up this colour first and get it on. Okay, that's one coat done. I'm going to give it another 2, so I'm going to let it dry for a bit and see how it looks. Okay, I've given it 3 coats of the livery green, and it turned out really nice. I really like the colour. So now all I've got to do is do some shading, which I'm going to start shading with this colour first, and then maybe move on to this slightly darker colour. Okay, I've done a bit of shading. It's a lot harder than it looks. I'm not sure whether I've messed it up, but I'm going to let it dry and maybe apply a few more coats and then see how it looks after that. Okay, so I blended in the green that I was using to create the shadows. The way that I applied it, it was a bit too harsh, the lines, so I've just blended it a little bit more. Now I'm going to go a little bit darker with this goblin green. Okay, all I got to do now is paint the hair black, which I should have done probably first. So I've had to just tape up around the head so I don't get any overspray on the green. Okay, so the airbrushing's finished now, and it turned out great. I really like it. So what I'm going to try and do now is make a pair of jeans. I bought this very thin denim fabric off eBay, and what I'm going to do is cut out the masking tape and use the masking tape shape as a template for the denim. So I'm going to see how this goes. Okay, I got my templates cut out. I'm now going to use this double-sided tape and stick it all over the shorts, and then stick the templates to the tape, and then trim around the edges, get it all nicely lined up with each other. Okay guys, the jeans are now finished, and they turned out great. I think they make the model look really good. I finished them off with a bit of sandpaper, just to create a little bit of battle damage, and I also had some fake leather lying around, so I made a belt because it seemed unfinished without it. So I'll just measure it. It's about 15 inches tall. I'll give you a slow little look. Alright, well I think we're done here. There's not much more I can do to this model. Thanks for watching. I hope this video helped you if you were going to build this model, and I'll catch you in the next video.